Well, I spent yesterday kind of messing around with the snowblower. I got everything fixed up and ready for this storm that's coming through. I broke the master link with a big rock that got wedged right up into here. So I replaced that master link, got a couple extras, got the sprocket bolted back on and the shear bolt in there tightened up. The shear bolt at the back is also good. I replaced the ball bearings that were missing out of the center of this and got it capped back in, so that's all set. And I adjusted the slip clutch back down to loosen that just a little bit more to prevent those issues. And then I went and tried it for a quick minute last night up on the upper parts and everything worked fine. I did adjust the shoes so that it will ride a little higher, and I don't think I like that. The way that it's sitting now is rests on the shoes, and there is about an inch gap from the cutting edge to the ground, which I thought would be okay because that would give it a little bit of clearance to ride across and not be down picking up any gravel or anything. But so what's happening is the snow is compacting underneath the shoes as it rides forward, and that's lifting the blade slightly. So incrementally in the length of that 1 inch packs, which raises the blade a little extra, which continues, and that cycle continues and continues, and then it grows to where by the time I would make a single like 50-60 foot pass, at the end of it I'd be left with about 3 inches of snow, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to put the shoes back to flat, and that will help just keep it cutting. What I'll do when I am making the cuts with this thing is I'll drop it down and then take the weight back up so that the weight goes back to the tires. That helps keep it so I can drive and steer good, and it's not pressing down on the cutting edge to really grind down into that gravel and dirt and all that junk. I also put a couple of little flaps on the sides of this discharge chute so that I pretty much only run with it in this position or the lower position, because the snow just is light enough, it just blows all over the place. What happened for me last time I used it on the main road is it was kind of shooting up the sides here and creating a dust swirl of snow, and that light fluffy snow sucked right up against the grill and went right into my air intake and plugged up my air filter. And I had to stop and pull the air cleaner open and bust out all the snow and clear it all out. These should help kind of keep it here going up the discharge and out, and not allow it to come out and miss this. So that should help. The other thing I've done is the mount plate on the front that I transferred just mounted with these 3 bolts, and that lined up just great. The only problem is, as I would go, those 3 bolts would loosen just slightly, and this whole front plate could pivot left or right, meaning that when I raised the snowblower, it would be pivoted at an angle and it wouldn't sit correctly. So I had this old mount from when I had a plow mounted to the front of this, and I took that off, modified it, and put it back on. It bolts to the sides as well, and put that on and then welded it to the plate. So now this assembly coming down the side of the frame, across the top and down the side, and then across the front is all one piece now. So now that's solid and stable. I also had to fix my rear lights. I had a problem in my switch on the dash, just a bad connection, a poor connection at the back of the switch. And so I got that fixed up so that my rear lights function again. All kinds of little things. It felt like just tinkering around mostly, but all things that needed attention. So today I am going to readjust those shoes back so that it sits down flat, and then I'm good to go for tomorrow with all the snow blowing that I need to do. And my new tires on the front, they're deep enough lug that I need to loosen this tire chain My other side is slightly more loose, and so the chain can ride up on top of the lugs and sits where it needs to. This one was more snug when I first put it on, and what's happened is it's just worked down in between the lugs and everything's tight, but it doesn't really do a lot for me. So it's still biting here on the treads and not really biting into the tire chains that much. So I'm going to loosen that just a little bit so that the chains can kind of free themselves from the cleats and be able to work around and come underneath it like they need to. I haven't noticed any kind of lack of traction with it or anything like that, but it will make the tire chains wear better and the tire wear better, and everything will have better grip. So the snow has stopped for today. It's overcast and windy, but it's all stopped. So I'm going to come out here and get our roads cleared and see what's happening with the main road, if it needs any attention. We've accumulated up to about, I don't know, 5 or 6 inches so far. So we'll just get it cleared. We've got another blizzard warning for tonight and tomorrow all day for the next like 48 hours. And they're saying anywhere from 6 to 15 inches. That's what they said on the last one. So we'll see, but we definitely have a lot more wind activity, which could mean, if nothing else, a bunch of drifts. So I'm gonna go get my gear on and get started clearing. Well, everything seemed to work out just fine. All of the small little modifications and adjustments that I made seemed to do the trick, and I didn't have any issues with slippage or the snow blowing up all dust and crazy out of the discharge chute, causing me issues there.
Just as I was wrapping up with all the snow blowing on our ranch roads, getting them back open and drivable, the snow started to come back in again and was going to be here for a minute. According to that blizzard warning, it was going to be here for the next 2 to 3 days, and we were anticipating quite a bit of snow to come out of it. So we hunkered down for the next couple of days and just let the storm ride itself out. And by the time it was done, we had a solid 12 to 15 inches of snow everywhere. So it was time to get back out after everything. This time, we also needed to give some attention to the main road. I ended up spending the entire day out on the tractor, clearing up the roads, including all of our ranch roads. It was well after dark by the time I got back to the shop with the tractor to put it away for the night, but everything was cleaned up. At the last little bit of clearing on the main road, however, I did end up with a small failure on the snowblower. I managed to find an old length of barbed wire buried in the snow that got wrapped up in the auger and ended up shutting me down. But I'll show you all about that on the next one.